clicked on this video, and I bet you're a tech worker that has not been able to find a job for a very long time, even if you have a ton of qualifications and a lot of years of experience. And the media and influencers keep saying that this is only temporary, and we keep believing them. But the fact is, you're still here unemployed, worried about how you're going to pay your bills. I'm here to tell you that the situation is actually far worse than anyone is saying it is. And for many of you, you will never land a full-time job in tech ever again. Because like me, you've probably noticed that every job on LinkedIn or Indeed gets thousands of other applicants. And on top of that, some of these job postings aren't even postings for actual jobs. They're just made by companies in order to have a backlog of potential candidates in case a job opening does actually come up. So in looking for a new job, you're competing with an absurd number of qualified or more qualified candidates than yourself. And this is why I say it's absolutely stupid to keep hoping for that 2022 dream job to ever come back. It's gone. There were days a few years ago when tech money was flowing, AI wasn't replacing entire roles at one time, and there was much less competition for employees. But now, you've got tens of thousands of other unemployed tech workers competing for the same roles that you're trying to land. Realistically, you're going to need to be the top 0.1% just to get an interview. So now what? How much time have you wasted hoping to get a new full-time job to replace the one you had? Well, some of you are going to go get a job at Applebee's as a bartender. And there's nothing against this, but I'm guessing that it's not what most of you would have in mind when it comes to finding a new job. Especially because all of your high-value tech skills are going to go to waste. But that's just the reality, because there's a very small number of new full-time tech roles open for a giant pool of qualified candidates. But what if you really do want to use your professional skills and not have to completely transfer careers where there's more of a demand for employees? What I think you should do specifically is do freelance or contract work. Because while the full-time job market is in shambles, a lot of these tech companies are shifting to contract labor. Why? It's cheaper for them, and they can lay off this contract labor at any time without any bad press. Contract labor is basically a safety net for big tech companies, and it's also an opportunity for you to keep using your skills without the need to find a new full-time role. Now let me share my personal story with you. In 2022, I lucked out and I was able to land a full-time data analyst role for a big tech company with no bachelor's degree and almost no experience. But that was 2022, and last year, like many of you guys, I was laid off due to restructuring. Naturally, I started looking for a new full-time role to replace the one I had, and I thought it would be easy, right? So I started applying, interviewing, doing all of that good stuff. But after a month or two of the frustrating cycle that I'm sure you're all familiar with, in addition to seeing people post on LinkedIn that they were having similar experiences, I started to think that things were different than they were when I got a job in 2022, and that I would need to figure something else out. And that waiting for a new full-time job would not be a good play for me. So I decided to split my time. I would still apply for jobs just in case, but I would also work to drum up freelance projects on Upwork using my data analytics skills. Fast forward to now, I still don't have a full-time role, but I'm making more money than I was as a full-time employee and working less hours in the week. I have multiple clients in multiple industries, no boss, and an unlimited income if I can figure out how to scale my service offering. And best of all, I never have to worry about getting laid off ever again. And I'm really glad that I did this, because right now there are hundreds of thousands of other unemployed tech workers, and only a fraction of them will ever get a new W-2 job. Yes, some of them will eventually land jobs, and some of them even fairly quickly, but I think that the energy required to be the top 0.1% of applicants might be better spent building a freelancer consulting business where you get to keep all of the fruits that come from your hard work. And if you're really determined to get a new W-2 job, then go for it. But just understand that there's a possibility you might never land a new role. Meanwhile, you could be growing your own client list, building a personal brand, and enjoying the freedom and income that contract work can offer you. And if you ask me, that's a no-brainer. I'm really not here to sugarcoat anything. The job market in 2025 is probably worse than ever, particularly in the tech industry. And I think that holding out hope for a new cushy full-time employee role, similar to the one you might have had prior, is a really bad idea, and it will end up in you depleting your savings and having to figure out something else anyway. So instead, start freelancing and contracting right now. It's worked for me, and it's worked for a lot of others who have also realized that security in tech doesn't come from having a full-time job anymore. It comes from having multiple clients and the ability to find new ones. So if this hits home for you and you're determined to do something about it, then I would recommend you check out some of the other videos on my channel, including this next one.